This is Suvarchala working as an associate professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at IARE. As a series of lectures under structured query language, in this lecture, I would like to discuss about data manipulation language statements. The previous session, we discussed about how the data is going to be defined, how the data structure is going to be modifiable by using DDL command supported by SQL. So once the structure was created, we have to manage the data actually. That is, users support various types of users, multiple users will access our database. No? So they may insert or they may access, they may modify, and they may use that to do some other process also. For all retrieving also, the data must be first stored in our database. That means DML means data manipulation language. So the select statement, insert, update, delete and merge statements are considered as a DML statements. We'll discuss insert, update and delete statements as part of the DML statements today, and coming sessions we'll discuss the next session as a select statement. Select is the most powerful statement to retrieve our data from database, and it has various options are there for us to retrieve required data from our database actually. So before retrieving, we supposed to insert. So that's what we'll discuss in this session, the basic 3 data manipulation language statements. Insert command. Insert command, it adds data to table, the term itself indicates. First the structure was created. So the structure means this is the table structure, only attributes are there. Okay, for example, E1, E2, E3, E4. So only attributes are there. This is the structure. Some of them may be primary key, not null, etc. might be there. But data was not there. So this data is introduced by using our insert command. So insert into table, insert into customer table. Let us assume that customer table was already generated with attributes customer ID. Let us assume that it is having a customer ID, customer last name, customer mid name, first name, account number, account type and branch. Of course, email ID is not there initially. These are the attributes we are having. Let us assume that. If the attributes are there, we already used DDL command as a create command and created a table. So the customer table, we have to add the data. So how to add the data? Insert into customer, that is the table name. You observe values and we are providing the values. Remember this, we are not giving any attribute names, remember, in this format. 3 formats will be there. The first format, we are not providing any attribute names. But how many values we supposed to provide? We supposed to provide the values based upon the number of attributes available in our table. And also one-to-one correspondence must be there. First value will go to the first attribute, second value will go to the second attribute, third value will go to the third attribute, and so on and so forth. So that's why for such insert statement, we should have in our mind what is the structure of our database, what are the attributes, their types and order also. Then only you can able to give the order of the data. So 001 and contemporary casuals and 1355S and etc. etc. This inserting a record that has, for example, if you have all values, you can do like this. For example, for certain attributes, I don't have some values. I cannot give just like a quotations also. If it is giving quotations also, it will take the value as a blank. So inserting a record that has some null attributes, it requires which field has to be taken by which attribute. in such cases, another syntax will be there. Insert into table name. This is same. Previously, we have given only values, but currently we will give attribute names as well as values also. In the first group, we will give attribute name, then values, respective values. Here, the order of the attributes are according to our wish. It need not be as the order of attributes in our table. Here, observe here, product table, product ID, product description, product finish, standard price, product on hand. We are providing only those values. One will go to the product ID, end table will go to the product description, city will go to the product finish, and 175 for standard price and 8 for stock on hand. That means some of the attributes already there for which no value is there, which are not specified here. For them, the value will be considered as a only null value. Another one is there. We are going to insert into a table by collecting the data from some other table. But the structure must be same. So that means from a query, select star from customer table where state is equal to California, CA. That means we have various formats for inserting into our data into our tables. As our need, depending upon need, you can use. Actually, insertion of data can be done by using directly this insert statement, because every time typing everything may be taking a laborious process. So in SQL, we have a slash. By using slash, recent buffer, the statement which is executed recently will be in the buffer. The same is going to be get executed. Only you have to change the values. We have to change the values. The remaining attribute names, etc. will be remains as it is. Like that also you can do. Or you can develop an interactive screen. That is, a screen is going to be developed by using some programming language, because an integrated program can be generated by us in some other high-level language, which will accept data from the screen when we are typing, just like we are typing for applications, no? Like that we are going to type, for example, student name, class, number, hall ticket number, phone, address, like that will be there. Some windows will be there here. So we will type the data. In our program, we will accept this data into variables that will be inserted by using this insert command internally in a program. In such cases, this is adding the data on application. A small application can be developed by programmers so that voluminous data has to be inserted. In such case, you can use like that also. But in any way, internally also the syntax must be same. So insert into table name, column list, values, value list, single row. Single row we are storing here, having the columns. For example, customer details, customer ID, customer name, first names, middle name, last name, middle name, first name, middle name, and account number, account type, branch, email ID. All are there. You please observe. So if we are providing all entire data, then we need not give attributes. But remember, the values must be in the same order. Then only this can be done by us actually. So few columns at a time. As we discussed earlier, this is the syntax we are using. Insert into a table name. Few columns, So that's why column names must be there. List of columns in parentheses first. You observe. In the same order, the list of values in the another parenthesis by using a values. So these are the two methodologies you can use to insert data into our respective database or a table. The value of remaining columns will be the represented. We are not providing now. So whichever the columns we are providing, only those columns data will be accepted. Remaining columns data will be considered as a null by default it is. So at the time of inserting also, for example, we are inserting here only what are the columns we are inserting? Customer ID, customer name, 3 names, last, first and middle names, and also we are using the account number, account type and branch name. Which one we are not providing? We are not providing our email ID actually. Okay. So similarly, let us assume that if I have a constraint at the time of creation, this branch name as a, let us assume that we have a branch name of HSBC by default. If I am not providing this branch name, by default it will take HSBC. If default constraint was used. As we discussed earlier, default constraint is there at the time of creation of a table. So if default constraint is used, if you are not providing the value, the default value will be considered actually. Similarly, we can explicitly you can insert null value also. Or implicitly you can, if you didn't provide, it is null. 2 ways are there. If you didn't provide the value to that particular attribute, automatically it will take null value for that particular row in the respective attribute for which the data was not provided. Or explicitly also I can provide. You observe the first one. I am inserting the data, customer ID, customer last name, etc. without email ID. Same thing. No email ID, no. I didn't provide email ID. I am not providing the data for email ID also. So what happens email ID? It will be null. Okay. But this will be by default because if I didn't provide, the value will be null. Or explicitly I can provide. For example, I am using the attribute name customer email. But I want to give only, I don't have value. So I can provide like this, null, NULL. Remember that this is a keyword. So that's why I cannot use this null word for any other purpose other than to insert my data. Okay. So what are the ways? 2 ways are there to provide null value. You just skip that particular attribute while inserting the data and the respective value also. Value to the respective attribute also. Or include the respective attribute but provide explicitly null for the attribute so that the null value will be there actually. So we can insert multiple rows also from a already different table, existing table, some other table. But remember that whatever, from whichever the table I am taking the data, the structure of the data which I am getting must be the same as the structure of the table into which I would like to insert. Structure means the number of attributes as well as the one-to-one correspondence of the respective attributes must be there. Otherwise, at least the attributes which I am going to get from the query, the number of attributes and the respective attributes one-to-one correspondence must be specified during the insertion process at least. So, for example, when we are considering here, insert into old customer details, account number, transaction date, total available balance in dollars. How many attributes are there? 3 attributes are there. How the data I am providing? I am providing a data from a query. Of course, I didn't discuss. The select is a query. Select account number, transaction date, total available balance in dollars from customer transaction. Another table, you please observe. Where total available balance is greater than 10,000. All these details are going to be added to the customer. So by using this query also, I can add multiple records. That means inserting multiple records or multiple rows from another table into the current table having the similar structure of the attributes. So this is the syntax which just now we discussed. Inserting many tuples by using a query. As a result of the query, insert into our relation name, and if you want, you can provide the column names also and subquery. Remember, the result of the subquery must have one-to-one correspondence the column names given or the relation. For example, insert into EMP, select star from EMP1 where salary greater than 5,000. That means you observe I am getting all attributes of EMP1. I am inserting into EMP means the structure of EMP and EMP1 must be one-to-one same. So directly it can be saved, or indirectly you can specify here the attribute names which we are specifying, and the result of the query, the attributes are one-to-one. Compatibility must be there. Then only the insertion process is possible properly. That has to be checked by us. Sometimes it needs in our applications actually. So like that, by using this insertion command, the data is going to be inserted into our database by using various formats. Or you can use, as I told you, a small application can be generated. Forms are going to be generated by us. By using forms also, a number of records can be inserted by multiple users when the database table is going to be created. When the data is created into database, voluminous data must be inserted. Then it is better way actually, instead of using the syntax directly every time. Right? So we will add through some small logic of the program, we will accept the data through variables. Those variables are copied into our attribute variables. Then we will insert them. That we will write a small logic. A program will be written by us, which is used by us actually. Once inserted, sometimes the data must be deleted also. So how the data is going to be deleted? To delete the data from our table, we will use the delete from command. Syntax of the delete from command is delete from table name where condition. This blue color is considered to be as a reserve quotes. While writing this condition, we will use the relational operators and logical operators depending upon the conditions. The condition can be combination of attributes as well as the relational operators as well as the logical operators actually. Example, delete from customer details. We didn't use any where condition. No where condition. No means here there is no any constraint. No. Delete from customer detail means all tuples are deleted. All rows. Deleting all rows means if you didn't provide any condition, then all rows are going to be get deleted automatically. Deleting the specific rows. Where condition is used means the specific rows are going to be considered. For example, delete from customer details where customer ID is equal to 102. Only the tuple which satisfies this condition, those tuples are going to be deleted from. Remember, when we are using this delete command, it will be deleted temporarily. When the commit is going to be used, then only the permanent deletion is going to be done. Remember, all of us, even all DML commands, when the DML commands are executed, after executing the DML commands, commit statement must be there. If the commit statement is there, these DML commands are going to be permanently done with your database, secondary storage device. If you didn't use commit, the entire data which we inserted, that entire data is not going to be stored in our secondary storage device. Remember. So after all DML commands, a commit must be done by us actually. Or frequently it must be used by commit so that it will be permanently written into our databases actually. Another example, remove rows from the table, delete certain rows where state is equal to H1. Delete all rows. Just now I explained you, customer table, all tables are deleted. Now you observe, delete all rows. Delete from the table. Without any where condition, it will delete all rows. Now, In the previous lecture, we discussed about DDL commands. There we discussed truncate command. What is the purpose of the truncate command? Truncate command is used to delete all tuples from our database. Here delete command also used to delete from table name. It gives all tuples are deleted from the table name. Then what is difference between these two? Delete, for example, I am giving employee table, delete from EMP. Or truncate EMP. These are the two statements. The result of these two statements is same only. Delete from EMP means it deletes all tuples from the EMP table, and delete truncate table EMP means this is also deletes all tuples from the EMP. Then what is difference between these two? Delete data can be removed, can be recovered if you are executing delete. In case of truncate, data cannot be recovered. Why? As I told you, delete is a DML statement. Truncate is a DDL statement. Our commit command means it will permanently return. We discussed already about the commit. Commit means once the commit is completed, then whatever the updations are made, those are transferred to our secondary storage device. No? So, in case of commit, in case of DML statements, just now I explained you, commit is must. Then only those are permanently transferred to our secondary storage device. Whatever changes we made, whatever the data inserted, whatever the data deleted, everything is going to be transferred to our secondary storage device after commit. But for DDL commands, no commit, no need. Automatically it will permanently done. So that's why once you are using truncate means it will be deleted, it cannot be recovered. But in case of delete command, it is a DML, no? The commit was not used. Even it is used, you can revoke back. So DML statement is there. Delete is a DML and truncate is a DDL. So that's why if being a DML and it can be recovered back, chances are there. But in case of truncate, we cannot recover data from our deleted table. Actually, delete does not do so. Truncate releases the memory occupied by the records of the table. So, because what happens, as I told you, delete means it just deletes, it marks a delete mark actually. In our database, tuples records are there, no? First record, second record, third record, like that, EMP 101, 102. When I am using this delete, these records are marked as a delete mark, not actually permanently get deleted. When commit is considered, when commit is happened, then only these deletion marked records are going to be deleted. So that's why once the delete command executed, these are not get deleted, no. So that's why memory space is not going to be get freed. After commit only, memory space is going to be get freed. But not in the case of truncate command. Truncate releases the memory occupied by the records of the table immediately. As we discussed, it's being a DDL, it cannot be recovered back immediately. The data is deleted means automatically the space is going to be sent back to the OS actually. And another data manipulation command is update. So, update command here we are using here to modify the data, existing data in our table. We can use this update command to modify. Update table, this is the syntax. Which table I have to modify? The table name. This is user ID. Blue color all. Set. Which column I need to update? That column name is equal to some value. Value or expression, you can use anything. And this is a where condition. kept in square brackets. Please observe. Square brackets means automatically what it doesn't mean. It is an optional. So if you eliminate where, for all rows, the updation is going to be happened. If you are putting where condition, for the rows only satisfying the condition or get updated. So update customer fixed deposit table. What is that? Rate of interest in percent is null. We are not using any where condition here. So that's why what happens for all table, all tuples. This updation is going to be happens to all tuples. And updating particular row. For example, update customer fixed deposit set row of interest in percent is equal to 7.3. We are updating here. Where amount in dollars is. That means wherever the amount is more than 3,000, the interest rate was updated as 7.3. I'll give one more example. In our employee database is there, salary is there, a hike, 10% of hike, update, give 10% of hike to all employees. Salary. 10% of hike means salary will become as salary plus salary multiplied by 0.1 or salary is equal to salary star 1.1. You can use either of them. So I can write update statement as update my employee table set this expression. For all employees, please give 10% of hike. The employees who are having the salary less than 5,000. Less than 5,000 for them only I supposed to give up enhancement. Then set salary is equal to salary star 1.1 where salary less than 5,000. Less than 5,000, this is going to be happening. That means here update means it modifies a single row or multiple row, sometimes multiple columns also, depending upon our need actually. You can update the data multiple columns also. But remember, this is a DML command. After updation, it only happens in your buffer. After commit only, actual updation into your secondary storage device is going to be carried out. Another example, update product table, set unit price is equal to 775, where product ID is equal to 7. For a particular product only we are doing. Another one is multiple columns. Till now we discussed only single column now. So multiple columns. For example, customer fixed deposit. Set customer email ID as customer email ID and rate of interest also. For a particular customer only we are doing. Customer ID is equal to 104. For that particular row only, these two updations are happened. As I expressed previously, when we are adding a new column by using alter. By using alter table column, add a new column. We added no previously email we added like that we added. When we added the new column, the data in that particular column for the existing row may not be available. How to add this data? One way is we cannot insert directly because insert means a new row will be inserted. But existing row, that same column data has to be updated. Then we have to use update. Individually, update EMP table, EMP set email ID is equal to whatever email ID is for customer ID or employee IDs. Like that condition we will do. Like that individually we can modify the respective column data by using our update command actually and with the where option. Or in other way, you can update with a common conditions also. It all depends upon our data availability in our data actually. So these are the three DML statements which we are going to use widely to manage our data changes in our database actually. We will use one more statement as a select statement, which is a very effective statement to access our data from our database as per our need. Maybe a single table, maybe a multiple tables, or many more constraints it has to be satisfied. But the result have to be arranged in a particular order also. For all these things, we will use select, which we will discuss in the coming session. What are the various options are available with the select so that we can use it to retrieve our data in a proper manner actually. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.